Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow. Somebody's gonna lose their fucking streak. Thanks, babe. Oh, okay, let's find out how many berries they have now. We were gone for a while, so berries. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, now I can feed fucking everybody. Okay, cool, 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 cool. These guys are just vibing now. It looks like okay. What's going on here? Okay, we have an egg. We should knock earthquake resistant and brittle. Ew, terrible. Absolutely shit. This is the new Pushy. Book 99, that's fucking amazing. That's awesome. I had chicken that tasted like nothing. But now I have an energy drink, so I came back and immediately, like, all I did was change into my pajamas and start playing again. The only thing we did is after we left the restaurant, we stopped by a gas station so I can get some energy drinks. Because I was like, I am not gonna fall asleep just because energy started to die down a bit. Like the flow, you know. I needed that flow back.
I think the energy drink helped me too.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure.
That's too well.
My face is not.
Oh my god!
You forgot about your tea. No.
On book 99. I, I wonder if Jesse will finish book 100 before the stream ends.
Oh, probably.
That's not bad, level 1. Oh, cool.
Okay, so we have the good
Okay.
tools. We have decent weapons. What are we doing here? Ooh, buddy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then how about over here? Really? Okay.
Um,
And I'm the only one who needed saving. Okay. Now let's go check out the ranch farm. Yeah, they're doing. I'll see how many pages the next one has and let you know. Okay, yeah, for sure.
okay, I have enabled shared chat. I'm now live as well, so you should be able to enable it too.
Yeah, it's already started. I never left.
No, but you have to. Oh, cool.
No, I did it automatically.
I have to enable it every time. I guess it's maybe a host thing.
Maybe.
Can hear myself again through here. Apparently, I watched an entire Ewu video while we were gone.
Oh, good job. Okay, do you mind if we remove um who is it? Is it okay, can we remove the valet?
Oh, you are perfectly fine to remove that. I literally just put that there to.
Yeah, but we've got plenty of seed and like at this point we're just feeding them for no reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, well you need to get it because otherwise I'm just gonna wind up taking it by accident. Certainly want your
Oh,
valet.
welcome back, Mr. J.
On that night, taking back.
We may have to restart.
Why? Is it lagging?
Um, it's just a possibility. I noticed when.
I know my
Oh, it
face
seems
is
fine.
lagging.
I got teleported.
My mouth and my face don't match up. My face is a bit delayed.
Oh no.
I need to restart VBridger.
So Army of the
20.
Valet.
This is your room
Okay.
called.
Valet is out, so I got 2 more slots.
Sweet. We'll just leave it alone for now. We don't have to fill them.
No.
It's
No,
just like if we need them, they're there.
Oh, there is that other pal who. Which one is
You
it?
know what I didn't do? I never made a fucking fishing pole. I should do that.
Good idea. I'm waiting until I can make the
15-pound metal ingots. I can do that.
do you want me to add the Cinemoth to increase farming work durability level for everyone by 1?
Oh, yeah, you could do that.
Cool. So everything is now a +1 farming. Well, it's a ranch. We are good.
Fucking.
Food was
Oh, it's
mid,
the quartz.
but yeah. How are you doing, Mr. J?
Yeah, the food definitely could have been better.
Yeah, the biggest issue with the food was
That it tasted like nothing. It
you got
tasted like air.
you got watered down water.
I did. 480 pages, there's definitely a possibility. I believe in you. Trying to think, do I want to restart my V-Bridger? Because it is my V-Bridger at this point. I think I want to restart the V-Bridger.
Yeah, take
You
your
have tiding
time.
to do, so you don't know? Oh, if I know.
I'm gonna see what the level of the hard mode rain syndicate tower is. Hang on, can I just leave? Okay.
I'm I'm
Down
here.
here.
I'm currently trying to pull up my face again because
You have tiding to
I
do.
know it's a little jarring right now with my face not moving, but I'm still talking. But it's probably less jarring than me talking and then you see my mouth move 10 minutes later.
I wonder. I genuinely wonder if you were to take like a survey of that. Um,
Like, what's more jarring?
yeah, what people would find more jarring. Oh, I've never seen that alert from Stream Elements in YouTube. Telling me it's running. Cool.
What?
I got a message in like the fucking Stream Elements message in my YouTube chat saying that the bot's running. Learn how to customize the bot here.
Nice.
Where the link? I've never seen that before. Any other time I've done streams, so maybe Stream Elements had an update.
Oh, shit. I forgot why I came here. I was like trying to get some freaking quartz. I was like running around. I'm like, where did this panda come from?
This looks like a starting area.
Just tried to open up a mimic.
Yeah, this is definitely a starting area. That's fine. Can explore it.
Oh my god. Oh, this is nice. This is nice.
Ooh.
I love my, bless you, I love my new pickaxe.
Pardon.
It's amazing.
Oh, you got uh the Pell Medal.
Yes.
Nice. Well, 31 univolt. Okay.
Trying to make a fishing pole now. The advanced one with the Palmetto, but I need more quartz. Now I have to walk all the way over here. Damn. It's
I feel like I might sneeze again at some point.
okay. You're free to sneeze if you need. Are you coming to attack me? We're so slow.
What is it?
The panda looked like it was gonna attack me, but like then gave up. It was like, I don't wanna.
Hacking. Find the correct position. Nope. Nope. Oop. Failed that. Yes, kitty. Meow. I think that's Elvis.
For sure. What's this? Oh shit. That's an attack. I wanna see how much damage it does.
There's quite a few like beam attacks, which are cool.
Yeah, I just got one.
Ooh, what one's your one called?
It's called Pal Blast.
Ah, yes, yes. I've got that on my Alphadran, and it
Try
is.
it.
It looks really
I'm very
powerful.
slow, but I'm gonna do this anyways. Oh my god.
You guys look like little trash panda baby children. Actually, do kind of look
Bruh.
like Rugrats if you ever watched that show. I used to watch Rugrats all the time as a kid. This is also a chibi style of model.
Not a rugrat.
And we're in
I am a
trash.
trash critter.
I'm a whole trash
I'm a whole
panda.
trash.
I'm a trash
I'm
chicken.
just trash.
I'm a bin chicken.
What the fuck is this song?
Hang on. I can hardly hear the music. I need to turn it up.
Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. How you
I
doing?
have no idea what this song
Did you
is.
have fun sleeping?
Hello, Brando.
Did you have a good nap? I don't know what the fuck this is. It sounds terrible. It reminds me of Seabat, not in a good way. I had a piss of poor sleep like I normally do. I'm so sorry. I don't know
Oh
why
my
you
goodness.
randomly got Italian in there. I had a piss of poor sleep. Sorry.
No.
It just. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, this song is still going? I thought it was
I
over.
hate it. I think it's over.
Yeah. Okay, it's new song. I could tell by how you put down your drink. You were about to skip song.
I'm back. Really? Why do you always do this when I have one more ingot left? Oh my god, this looks so inappropriate. Bruh, Masanda, get the fuck away. Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't look at this. It's inappropriate. Okay. Breeding without permission? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I was like, oh my god, what are you doing? Okay, I'm gonna make an advanced fishing rod, as if I've made a fishing rod at all this entire game.
I think that guy has a slight headache now. I just hit him with the Pell Blast.
I cannot wait until you guys see our new models. Seriously.
I'm so excited to do
I
a
feel
history model.
like right now, I just feel so. I feel like paper.
The one thing I'm scared about with our new models is
It,
And our computers handle it with this game.
yeah.
I think we'd be fine for this game.
Yeah. We just have to keep stuff the same. It should be fine. Okay. So I haven't done any fishing in this game so far.
Yeah, I'm waiting to unlock
Where the fuck did this bushi come from?
an extra weapon
Oh, right,
slot.
this crappy bushi. I meant to do something about that and I forgot.
Yeah, once I've upgraded my weapon slot capacity, I will.
Sadist and ooh, Insomnia is kind of nope. Insomnia doesn't really matter whenever it's a fighter, pal. God, you've got lots of like good work ones. Continues to work even when I say that'd be nice if you were a base pal, but you're not. Fishing very similar. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, sorry, I meant to say I haven't fished in this game this time,
This
this
playthrough.
playthrough.
Yeah, Aiko was doing like a lot of testing pre-update.
Yeah, I did some testing. And I didn't do any like crazy fishing.
It was mostly your testing was like base locations and
Builds and stuff.
something that turned out to be useless, which was breeding
And
pairs.
yes, I have played Stardew. I think that Stardew's is better in my opinion, but that, yeah. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Really just wish my controller would stop being stupid because
Oh,
it's
possibly.
making things really hard. Like when I open up like my map, it starts to just zoom me all over the place wherever the fuck it wants me to go.
Nice.
No, I want to go south. There's a little island over that area. That's where I want to go. Mostly because I'm not very good at fishing and I want to try. I want to start out with something easy. But I don't know, they fixed some things in the game. Maybe they made it a little bit easier. And by easier, I mean like
The quality of the rod might have more of an impact than it does on Stardew.
quality of the rod has a major impact on Stardew.
Yeah, but you can still catch like harder to catch things with the basic rod.
Yeah. Well, the
Um,
the thing is it just feels like sensitive.
yeah, it does.
It doesn't
Oh,
feel
I see.
it doesn't like match up to what I feel like I'm doing.
Like there's some delay in it or something.
No, it's doing exactly when I do it. It's just like
Yeah, pretty not.
I could
It's
like
just doing its
lightly
thing.
touch it and it could just like it's like yeah, it's very sensitive.
I see. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Any bodies you got around? Yeah.
What's over here? Have they changed anything?
I just went into the center of like a
What this? What this? Oh, it's a herbal. I was so confused. I was like, what is this egg?
I went into like the center of one of those like syndicate base thingies with like the cage in the center,
Mm-hmm.
and used the the Pell Blast, and just spun around and killed all but one. And the only one the spy was hiding behind something that didn't attack through.
Amazing.
Oh, Giga. Oh, he dodged. And well, well, he's dead. Poor Brahola.
Oh, this is better actually. Although to be fair, it is level 1. Have fun doing housework, live.
I wish you swift and thorough houseworking. It's really annoying when housework drags on because like you just miss one thing, and then once you do that, you realize you missed another thing, and it just keeps spiraling like that.
You got a frog. I think that's
Forg.
my first fork. Ooh, there's a bunch of things over here. Damn it. I forgot bait. So dumb.
Didn't have any or didn't make any.
Yes.
I have some bait in one of my chests.
No, I have some. I just I didn't make any and I didn't have any with me. I've
Ooh.
been randomly picking up bait places.
Yeah.
It's fine,
The
it's fine.
Sky. Are there multiple Sky Islands?
I think it is a bunch of sky islands, probably.
Yeah, it looks like it might be a bunch of Sky Islands in like a Sky Island area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not just like one sky island
Yeah.
that I'm
It's
aware
not
of.
like one. Actually, it is like One Piece, but not at the same time. That's not 10,000 meters up in the air.
They gonna ask me what bait I want to use? Or is it just gonna guess?
What is that statue? I feel like that might be a boss that you awaken.
Me?
Yeah, you're the boss.
Thanks.
Oh.
Sounds like a monkey.
I found a place of intense cold, but I was just getting the fast travel point.
Dun,
Even.
dun, dun, dun,
Dun, dun.
dun, 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 dun. It's a Whopper, apparently.
Oh my god, we're at Hungry Jack's?
Burger King.
Hungry Jack's. You're Australian now, baby. Now you're just in Australia. I didn't mean to kill that Ribunny. I thought it would survive that.
Oh my god, this Pangolin has Heart of the Immovable King.
Oh,
No, I forgot that's how you also get some rainbow passives.
from
Fishing.
fishing. Oh, yeah.
That's why I couldn't remember why I wanted to do fishing. And, like what I heard about fishing, it's like, because that's where you get some rainbow passives. Bow, bow,
Yeah,
bow, bow,
fishing,
bow,
breeding, and
bow, bow, bow,
just catching things are the way to get rainbow
bow,
passives.
bow, 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 bow,
And I think
bow,
fishing
bow, 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 bow.
has a. It depends on the area you're at, but has a decently highish chance.
See, I think I wanted to do some fishing over
I
here.
need to yeah.
See if there's anything over her.
Logging format. Northwest.
On the water.
Oh,
Those are shiny. Do I have that yet? I don't think I do, but it's fine. What's this? Just some dude? Some dude?
Some
I have no idea. I've talked to him before.
body once told me you're gonna hold me. I ain't. Oh, what is that island? Is that fabric? No. Maybe? I don't know.
Talking about.
I was looking at at an island I haven't explored.
I
Or not
see.
an island, an area I haven't explored. I have no idea where Faybreak is.
Oh, you're not gonna be. Are you? You're gonna have to ride. You're gonna have to ride your Azurib.
Okay, so that is not Faybreak. But it probably leads to Faybreak on the other side of it. I don't know.
See where you are? Where you are? No.
No, to the north.
No, it's to the south.
Faybreak's to the south?
Yep,
Oh, cool.
south of the volcano.
Oh, nice.
It's like I said, you need your Azurib.
Yeah,
I mean, you might be able to fly if you're using like a flyer, but not with not with your ephedrine. You can't.
yeah, not with this at all. Not even slightly.
Can you say words again?
Boom, boom. I'm saying words. I am the Tristan of words. I
Okay,
know
I just
how
want to
to
make
say
sure.
words.
Just want to make sure you're coming through. That's all. Dunka dunka dear.
You're welcome, honey. I love you. I love you. Mhm.
Just like running along the shores looking for shinies. Yep. Palspheres in them.
Feathers.
Oh, I found a shiny.
Ribbony. Pew.
I think it's gonna be.
Yippee! Oh, stronghold.
Whopper.
Whopper.
Mm-hmm. Damn it. I'm so disappointed.
Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut. Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pizza Hut.
They called it, stop. They called it simple bait and high quality bait. They had the opportunity and they passed. How dare.
They had the opportunity.
Yep.
What was their opportunity?
Simple bait and high quality bait? No, I think not. I say simple bait
Mm-hmm.
and a master variant of said bait.
Yes, they could have done that. Unfortunately, they did not. So instead, I weep the song of my people. Wah! Wow. Wah. Oh, going competitive.
Oopsie. Whopper and Mind Foreman. Nice, nice, I guess.
Let's travel closer to here. Ah, entire can consumed.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
I have not finished mine yet.
Oh,
What does Whopper mean? Does that just mean it's big?
they could. Oh no,
But I
fat.
am basically grinding out ancient civilization parts. I'm doing this. Because they're all alphas technically.
Oh, cool.
God, the Kelpsie's running along or swimming along in the river is so adorable. I see something down there. What that? What this down here? Oh, a name. Oh, that's way too far away.
That's where the depression is.
It's just in your general direction.
Did you see me fighting something?
I saw you lose some health.
Oh, weird. I'm so far away from you. I caught the Elphidron
That's why I
Alpha.
was confused. Oh my god, look at
Oh,
him go! Run! That is so cute.
confusion. Confresh.
Oh no, there's a texture it wrong here. They fucked it up. Cover it up. Cover it up. Nobody sees that.
No. You found a pervert?
What?
You covering something up?
Did
Because it's a pervert?
No. What? No. What? No.
What were you saying?
I found a texture problem.
Oh!
And you're talking about a pervert. Like, what are you talking about? I take it you did not hear the texture edit part. You just heard me
No, I didn't.
covering something up. Okay.
Yeah, covering something up.
Whereas earlier, I did cover something up because it was a pervert. It was the freaking Masanda Lux trying to get it on with the Blaze Howl.
Oh my.
Like, really? Right now? So inappropriate.
Oh, this isn't deep enough to negate my full damage. Uh, Gobfin's turf.
I hate that area. I hate
There's so many Gobfins.
Goblins suck.
I'm glad they're just not attacking me. It's nice. What's this sealed boss? Probably a Gobfin. No, it's a Wixen. Okay.
Why do I keep getting this Whopper thing? What is it? Does this have Whopper? No, it's Hydromaniac. What the fuck is Whopper?
Could be a fishing specific thing. I've never seen that.
Purple Scented, thank you. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. Yes, how's everybody doing? What are we playing?
Was it Palworld?
Was it Palworld? Tell me it's Palworld. This game's freaking amazing. I want everybody to play this game. Was Palworld? Yes. Who's your favorite pal? Just curious.
He's been asking everyone that question whenever they come in.
I asked my nephews too. Apparently the answers were King,
Nightwing.
Paga, and Nightwing, yeah.
The elk one? Elk City?
Oh, yeah, that one's really nice too. I got King of the Waves. King of the Waves. Oops.
That poor
You
boss.
never tried fishing yet? I just started fishing. It's not like I'm still trying. I'm still fishing in beginner areas because I'm not very familiar with it. I just like I read that I can get oh, that's nice. I read that I can get some rainbow passives. Or not read. Watched a video about how I can get rainbow passives with fishing. Because like you can see them, they're sparkly, you know. So you have more of a chance of getting rainbow passives. So I just got um King of the Waves, I think that was I just said.
Yes, that is
And
what
look,
you said.
now three more opportunities here because they're essentially count as like alphas, I guess, or luckies. You made a poll. That's fantastic. I made this one. You see, this is the first. I made the advanced fishing pole, and it's the first one I've made this in this world. I have not paid attention to it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make a fishing pole in my one until I get the um
Ew. Oh, I got 10 pals. See, look, that's how you know right there. I literally just got the achievement for 10 pals.
catching 10 pals.
You said you're not gonna make a poll for what?
Yeah, I'm not gonna make a poll until I get the upgraded inventory, like the weapon capacity, because it takes a weapon slot, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I just kind of like I have my pickaxe and it's in my inventory. Everything has Whopper. I need to know what that is.
That's fine.
I will read it when I get back to the base. Come on, give me a rainbow.
We can keep going
Was that my
north.
first walk? No, no, no.
Possibly. Unless you've gone to a Flark
Whopper.
area.
Or artisan. I got artisan. I like that.
Ooh, Artisan is the
Do you like
tier
artisan?
3 passive, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope you have an amazing stream. I'm gonna get ready for bed. I completely understand. Have a good night, and thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Oh, and thank you for the follow. I appreciate it.
I love my wife. She's amazing.
She did.
She's adorable
She did follow me.
and funny. Yeah.
Or he, I
Purple
don't know, I just assumed she. Purple scented, I don't know.
sounds more of a feminine name.
Why do you say that?
Hmm?
Why? Because guys can't be purple scented? Guys can smell like purple if they want. What does that even mean?
What does purple smell like?
Obviously, this person.
Are they a person?
Person smells like purple. Oh, look, an egg. This ice
Yeah.
egg protected by kelpies. Kelpsies. Kelpsies? Kelpsy.
Thank you again for the raid, and I hope you have a wonderful sleep.
Yes.
Streaming
And
is
any
very
raiders, anybody who joined in with Purple Scented, if you want to follow, feel free to. We are going to be playing Palworld until we get sick and tired of it. And we have been playing almost constantly since yesterday. Ooh, I got vampiric on a duck.
Mm, we stopped playing a couple of times due to one was sleep and the other was had to go out for my nephew's birthday.
Yeah, other than that, been streaming the whole time. Also, on August 1st, we're having a debut of a new model and a subathon that week. So that'll be fun.
Yeah,
You guys can see our new models because they're
you're
currently
so excited for me.
currently yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Awesome
Yeah.
sauce.
Oh my god, the sauce is so awesome.
I feel like you're making fun of me.
No, I'm saying the sauce is awesome because you said awesome sauce.
Okay, I'm gonna go check out to see what this passive is because it's not weirding me out. It's just different, and I don't know what it means.
Oh, that is
Does it
cute. You
mean
should
that
have
they work at Burger King?
maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that base.
5% increase to water attack damage, 5% increase to ice attack damage, and 5% increase to defense. It's not bad. I mean, it's not
What?
great, but it's not bad. King of the Waves is 50% increased movement speed on water. If I could ride this Cruzeiro, that'd be fantastic.
I would love to have that on like an Azarobe.
Right? And the Kelpsy is 50% work speed increase. What is the other one? Heart of the Immovable King is sanity drops 20% lower.
Ooh, that is nice. That is a nice one. You got some
Kelpsy in there. Okay. Why am I still holding a frog?
Just clean, carrot seeds.
Okay.
That's the beautiful flowers.
Okay, we have all 3 cakes. We get 3 new babies. Oh shit.
I suppose I should carry around my bait. I mean, there's actually no point. Don't have a.
I shouldn't be running around with my fishing rod.
You know the what?
Just running around with my fishing rod.
Oh, whack someone with a fishing rod. Skyrim style.
To pee. I have to pee. I'll be back.
It's the energy drink.
Yes,
It's
it is.
Danny. Good luck, honey. Yeah, we have been keeping well hydrated from dinner and energy drink. Why is the energy drink seem to run through people? Huh. Wonder if it's something to do with caffeine? Noticing this bug happening a bit more. Play while it's still loading in the area around me. Oh, that Cinemoth is dead.
I'm just,
Oh no!
I am chaos incarnate right now. I chased the cat into the room. He was not happy. I grabbed him by the face and I was like, "Hey, baby." He's like, "Why do you hate me?"
Poor kitty.
Don't I love him so much? Not as much as I love Kit Kat Go. I'm not gonna lie to you. I play favorites. Anybody who's paying attention, if you're telling me that you don't have a favorite cat between your two cats, you're fucking lying.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's a dead one.
What's dead?
A cinema.
Oh.
I was shooting a cinema from a distance. Oh my god.
She's shooting a
Oh,
dead
damn it.
cinnamoth.
Yeah, I thought it was alive. Ah,
Strong baby.
catch. I'm not guaranteed to catch it. Ooh, Cinemoth with farmhand? That's useless for a Cinemoth. But farmhand's very useful to breed onto something else.
I'm gonna have it make 29 cakes. Probably really stupid. It's stupid, I
How
changed my mind.
fast does it take for things to breed once they have a cake?
What? What do you mean?
Like when you put a cake in the breeding thing, do they like does it use up the cake instantly?
Yes. As long as they've been in there for long enough, as long as they've been in there long enough to have fully bred, it uses it up whenever they're done.
Oh, okay, okay. That's how it is. Okay. I have not touched breeding, so I didn't know that. And you've got two breeding things at that base?
I can make 93 cakes.
I feel like that might be a few too many.
I did.
Although they do take ages to make.
They do take a while to make, you're right.
So as long as you
That's why I just keep making like 3 at a time.
yeah.
Because like right now, it's like I'm trying to like, at this point, I haven't even got a good baby off of these two yet. Oh no, I
Yeah.
did. I got a female with
No
nothing
damages.
bad on it.
Yep.
They're both exactly the same, except for one's an alpha and they both just have earthquake resistant. So I'm just trying to get something that is new. They can keep earthquake resistant if they really want.
Yeah, having a defense skill against a specific type of damage is decent.
There's one more cake in here, and once they use this up, then basically they're just gonna keep wandering around in there until I'm done with them. That chicken looks like it's having a hard time. Oh, I think it laid an egg. It did.
Oh, did you know of a pal called War Sect?
Yes.
Okay. I just killed one and it dropped 4 honey.
Interesting. I didn't know it dropped honey.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to catch it, but I'll take a kill.
War Sect is has been in the game since the beginning. One of the OGs.
Oh,
All right. Something else to get me through this line. Baby, baby, I want something else. Not listening when you say goodbye.
my lizard bee killed me. hope the Elizabeth stays.
What?
What does an Elizabeth give if you put it in farm? Have you
I
got one yet?
feel like the Elizabeth used to give. I don't have an Elizabeth. I feel like the Elizabeth used to also give honey, but I don't know actually if it gives anything.
Okay,
I'll look it up.
I'll go back to where I died and hope the Elizabeth's still there. I got up to 1
Elizabeth.
health and then got hit by a fucking tornado. I guess
Uh,
tornado.
when fighting together, stats will increase the more B guard are in your team. Okay. Leave me alone. It wants me to enable ads.
Never.
See.
Oh, the war sex
It
event.
doesn't have any. It doesn't have any farming work suitability.
Okay, so it's like the King Packer where it's just like
Or the kings, or the Swee. The king Swee? Big Swee?
the sweet nut or something, sweet something.
I don't know. Okay, okay, what do we got? What do we got? Anything good? Motivational leader, stronghold strategist. Ooh,
Ooh,
hold on, hold on, hold on. Whoa, whoa.
the delay.
25% increase in player work speed and 10% increase in player defense. That's great.
That is fantastic. Oh, that is amazing.
That's my new mail.
I was wondering what Stronghold Strategist does, but that's just what player defense. Yeah.
Yeah. Where'd it go? Oh my god, I swear to god, if you went to go chop down my trees, I'm gonna kick your ass. Where are you? Where'd you go?
It's definitely cutting trees.
I want a Pyron. Although it's only 307 gold.
Oh, you hitting me? I thought.
Alright.
God damn it.
Coward. What
Guess
the
because in the
fuck
water
is
I was getting hit,
that?
not my pal.
Oh, he was harvesting berries somehow. Didn't even know that was a thing of his that he could do. I'm so glad that that happened before this breeding pair wound up coming up with the third egg.
Mm. I wonder how many passives it's possible to get on a pal.
Four.
4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can
Okay,
you
so you have to
still buy
be
multi-climate undershirt on the desert town? You know what? I don't know. Um,
really picky if
actually,
it's
that's a
cool.
good question. And because of that question, I'm actually gonna go check. Because actually, Tristan, can we sleep through the night really quick? Because I don't want to go through the desert in the dark or at night. 'Cause that's a good question. I want to go
Uh,
check.
Give me a second. I just need to get my bag from dying.
Oh, I'll tell you in a
Yeah.
minute. And by a minute, I mean like I still have to like. This is what I have for the desert. This is
What happened
here's
to
the
this?
desert. Here's here's this. I know it's like over here. It's okay. It's enough. It's enough. That's all I need. I want it anyways. Do I even
Can you
have enough
still
for it?
buy the multi-climate undershirt?
Yeah, basically there is. I'm just gonna fly there. It's fine. It's fine. By the time you get there, it'll be daytime.
Yeah.
Um.
I have to defeat a bounty target to even get to my bag.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't even know where it just went. There we go.
And last time I believe it cost 30,000. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh my God, it's cold. This is why I didn't want to come here at night.
God damn it.
That's fine. I have the cold stuff too. You good, fam? Okay, hold on. No idea what the fuck he just said. Excuse
Or
me.
prepare to fight them. They get
Excuse me. Thank you.
stuck.
I do actually need. Ooh, I can go fishing here too. I didn't think about that. And it's probably not considered a beginner fishing spot either because it's in the desert. I've been looking for fishing spots that aren't beginner. Not that I'm like sitting here talking about, oh, I'm a pro fisher. I need more challenge. It's because the fish I'm getting are level 3.
Yeah, and I feel like
I'd like a little bit more of a challenge.
the higher level fishing areas are also drop better, like have more rare like fish.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
There it is. I see it in the distance. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Avoid that for now. I'm not trying to deal with that at the moment. Whee! I bet if I had a quivern right now, I could probably fly it. I'm pretty sure I am over quivern level. What the fuck is that?
Hmm?
What is that? Is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? Is that a pal? That is a pal? What is it?
She's seeing things again.
What is it? It's a Tetrois. Oh, I see. Okay, I'm out. Bye. Don't care that much. I just wanted to see what it looked like out of its cube. It's a Minecraft block, obviously.
Oh, cool. Black market here. Hello.
I didn't remember ever seeing mining that gives extra +1 mining stats. Ooh, I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get that and put it in my production base. I'm not gonna get it right this second, but you know what I mean.
Let me talk to this guy.
I'll go get it like after I leave here, assuming I can. I don't know. I didn't even see what level it was. I just threw a ball at it and ran away. All right, that's fine. Excuse me, kind sir. You don't sell clothes?
Mm.
Excuse me, kind sir.
I'm making my
Uh,
way slowly over to the desert where you are. I want to buy that
does not look like it.
sun shirt too.
This guy's not gonna have it for sure. He's definitely not.
Maybe it's at a later town then.
Yeah, they might have changed the town because they've got more towns now.
I imagine they won't get rid of that. That seems like an essential
Mm.
item.
I mean, there's also finding like um blueprints though, and I'm pretty sure I've got a blueprint for something similar.
Yeah, maybe. Or they could have added it under the later research.
No. Wait,
Like could be under like an ancient technology research.
no. It's not. It's not that. It's not that deep.
No. But what if I wanted it to be that deep?
I would not. I mean, I guess I could unlock it.
Pardon me. That hurt. Oh.
Yes. I have
Ooh.
no idea what I just agreed to. Hold on.
Munchill effigies in the desert. Cool.
Took down the Axel Travers and obtained the key of the sloth. Objective is. I did what? I don't think I did take down the Axel Travers and obtain the key sphere of the sloth. Don't think I did that, but okay.
Achievement get, right? They just gave you an achievement.
They're only dropped from Bellinor. Are they? Ew. I've not fought that one yet. I've not done any raids yet.
Oh.
Anyways, let's go try and get that.
Ooh.
Just are you stalking me in the desert? I see you over there, you sneaky bitch.
Yeah, I said it's coming over to the desert.
Okay, I'm gonna go see if
I'm stuck on a
I'm
surfing
gonna go
ship.
try and get a turtle because I liked that thing. It looked cool.
I like turtles.
It's a Minecraft turtle.
I have.
I
Oh,
should name it
oh,
Steve.
nice. That would be lovely. I have gotten fragments for the tablet to summon Bellanor.
Mm.
You get that from
What level? Does it matter too? Because you say multi-climate undershirt only drive from Bellinor. Can we get it from like a level 30 Bellinor? Because I've gotten one of those before.
I didn't know there was levels to the fragments. The fragments I got from
Well, when you put it together. I don't know. I don't
I
know,
don't have enough
babe.
fragments to go either.
I don't know, babe.
I don't know. Is that a research you have to learn to get to be able to put it together?
I don't remember how I did it. I think I just did it in the crafting table. Where did
Okay.
it go? Did I make them despawn?
Oh no.
My Minecraft block turtles ran away.
Menacing. It's a menacing.
There's the dig toys. Are the dig toys still really good at digging and mining? Because I really liked them.
Who?
Dig toys.
Dig twist.
They
Maybe.
they did the spin.
Oh, the spin spin.
Yes. Really just
I like the spin spin.
like the spin too. I'm gonna go over here to this, maybe. Ooh, new thingy.
New thingy?
Gildra. It's like a mummy.
Oh, cool.
Whee. Oh, there we go. Easy peasy.
I imagine the desert towns just keep going north. Oh, a Sekhmet.
You're headed towards it. Just keep going straight.
Hello, Sekhmet. Get power blasted. Nice hitting
Ooh,
killer.
I want this.
Ow, she hurt. She whacked me in the face.
You are so extra.
I got her.
Good. I'm glad.
I got a Sekhmet.
My Fedra just tried to destroy this Calamari.
It's better than the other Sekhmet I saw that was like level fucking 70.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
the
haven't
other
even
area.
seen a segment yet.
Oh, it's outside of the town. You probably ran past them.
I was looking for a Minecraft turtle, okay?
Oh, pardon me. That
Gross.
snuck out. So
Disgusting.
disgusting.
This is why you're in the trash.
I love being in the trash. It's where I belong.
Oh my god, please unlock this entire desert and I will love you forever.
Oh, you found a watchtower.
Yes, and if you've ever had to try and unlock the entire fucking desert manually,
No,
oh my
you
god,
know how far
it
I've
is a
gotten in the game.
pain. It is a pain. I've done it twice, 3 times.
And no, Dakota.
It's almost all of it. Almost all. It is un oh, and it's this over here, which I haven't seen before, actually. Flame pulse. This little guy up here. What's this? What this?
Ooh,
What this? Is this the thing that electrocuted me? Not electrocuted me. Shot a beam at me one day. Oh no, that's a sanctuary. What is this? Oh, that's the arena entrance.
this stupid
I
van
didn't know where that
more.
was. I have never been there.
Damn it. Killed my Tyrantris. Die.
A fire has broken out at your base. Deploy a water pal to put out the fire.
They're attacking stuff through the wall.
We were talking about this at dinner. We were like, I wonder if you're going to still have a base by the time we get home. Your base has been set on fire like every 2 minutes.
Yeah, van worms just constantly spawn in and melt my base. It's a good thing I've got a couple of water pals to put it out.
But I was like, look, if we're going to leave this game on, you got to put some water pals out of your basement.
um. There's a large tower on this half of
Sandbar
the
of
island.
Solitude. Just trying to unlock some new areas.
Um, um,
And look for the Minecraft turtle in the meantime as well. I could be nowhere near where they spawn. Or they could just spawn over the entire desert. I don't know. What level is this dungeon?
I'll go get that. The Anubis statue.
The boss is level 40.
Day two. Day two indeed, Al. Hello. Welcoming.
Ow!
How you
I'm
doing,
gonna go in
Al?
this dungeon. Just cause. Yes. I don't know. Wait, isn't it like 1 AM or something? I don't know. No, I don't think so. It hasn't told me to take my
11.
meds yet.
It's about to go 11. Northeast. We are streaming this game while we're awake, and we end stream when we go to bed, or have to leave for some reason, like today.
Fuck off!
It took a while to put out the fire at my base. Yes, Al, we have been.
No, I hate this game.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, no, sorry, yeah. Aiko hates this game. We're gonna have to put her in the shed. We're gonna have to get a shed and then put her in the shed.
Where are we gonna put the fucking shed? We don't have a yard. Oh my goodness. Do we think that? Oh my god. Yeah, I'm playing it out of spite. I'm mad at my controller. That's something.
Do you
I
wanna?
am gonna go fishing in this dungeon. Shit.
What kind of controller are you using? A Steam controller?
No, it's an Xbox controller.
Oh,
I don't want to use a wireless controller.
it's a wired controller, but it requires a micro USB cable. Probably won't enjoy that one. Controllers are so expensive to buy. They're so annoying.
What'd I get? Oh my god, it's Accelerate Lux. I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, is that new? I saw that before and didn't realize it was new.
What are you talking about? I'm getting a $100 controller. What do you mean? I mean, it's not like Xbox branded, I don't think. It has an X on it, though. I don't know. Somebody bought it for me. I just put it on my wish list on Throne, and somebody was like, okay, because my controller was breaking, because apparently I killed them. I killed them with love, though.
I
I
wonder
love them
if
to death.
it's possible you have
Maybe I should.
I mean very unlikely, but possible. You have a kind of sweat that like melts controllers.
What are you saying about my sweat?
It I'm not sure what exactly it is. It is that some people have with their sweat, where it's just like,
Are you saying I sweat?
oh wait, no, you don't sweat.
Yeah,
You're a VTuber.
I'm perfect. The $20 Mad Catz controller. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Super funny. Sure, sure, guys.
Mad Catz controls. I mean, back in the day, I
Is it the are we talking about the clear plastic ones? Like with the like colored plastic ones?
oh, a Relaxosaurus
Oh my God,
effigy.
why did I jump in here with no stamina? I'm gonna die. Oh no, no, I'm good.
Have you picked up a Relaxosaurus effigy before?
Yes.
Ooh, what does that do?
I don't remember. Oh, I think it's I think it's the flying. No,
No, the flying
I
is
don't
the.
remember. Oh, XP boost.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, I imagine they're very rare. I mean, they're a purple effigy, so yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Controllers can't handle her beauty. I get blown away every day.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is the boss? Fuck this.
What's the boss?
It's a Toku Toku.
Oh no! Oh no! Dang! That's gonna blow up.
It is, it's just gonna blow up. I guess I'll fight it from over here.
Only a distance can save you from them suicide bombing.
Oh, let's see if I catch it. Nope,
I
I
am
didn't.
so.
It died.
No!
It killed my bird.
Oh no! Not your body.
How am I supposed to get out of this fucking desert? Nope, 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 no, 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 no,
I think she might have died.
no. I'm alive. I'm good. I survived it. I just kept rolling.
Oh, nice, nice.
My bird, on the other hand.
Dark Souls tactic. Just keep rolling.
Yep.
If you're alive, roll. If you die, blame lag.
I'm so mad about that. Why did I go in this fucking dungeon? Oh my God. Yes.
Oh?
Japanese style structure set.
Oh, nice.
I can finally do my house. You know, assuming I can get home.
Home is where the heart is.
I get home somehow. I don't even know where the freak. I'm gonna be running through the desert. Okay.
I am so very fortunate to have Aiko in my life.
Okay. All right. What is this? Don't even know what that is. All right. So we need to go this way. Who's here to help me? You, I guess. Let's fucking go. Can be ridden? Not without a saddle, you can't.
Oh my god!
Hmm.
I climbed to the top of the uh
Oh my God, there's a fucking bullshit coming up.
volcano,
Yeah?
and there was a massive pack of landworms guarding a nest.
Your best friend.
I'm gonna murder
I
them
hope
for
that
their
Bushi
eggs.
doesn't look at me because
Their
I
revenge.
will die as soon as it sees me. You know, you said I'll get piggyback rides from Tristan all the time, I assume. Yeah, yeah. Tristan's totally strong enough to give me piggyback rides all the time.
No, I died.
That's what he says after he tries to give me a piggyback ride.
Are you calling me a pig?
No,
Yoink.
no, what? Oh, yes. While we're living the fantasy life, sure.
I'm strong, but not in the physical sense.
I'm actually gonna make it. Unless, of course, somehow in the next 130 meters I die. That would be very salty. Something attacked that thing. Oh, Fuddler.
I want to steal your babies. Die, Van. Oh, I got stunned out of that attack. Oh no.
Sweet. Alright, time to go home, I guess. Since it killed my flyer.
Goodbye. Revenge.
Another thingy over here that we're going to need to get a second one of because I need more stuff.
Crisscross. Frick. Oh. Oh no, I don't know this song. How dare I? Lift Aiko with 3 fingers. Oh. Aiko, do you trust my life in your hand?
Nope.
She's right. She shouldn't. Being able to princess carry Aiko is a goal I have. I'm just so fucking weak.
No, it's fine. I also need to lose weight, so it's teamwork, team effort.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Now I need to figure out what that does. What is that charm? Is an accessory with incredible resistance to heat, greatly reduces incoming fire damage. Ooh. Could be good. I'm not gonna make it right now, but it's an option.
Oh, interesting. So it looks like there's only 4 Relaxaurus effigies around the map.
What?
Well, there's only 4 levels to the XP game.
Oh, okay. Well, I got one of them.
Did you get it at the volcano? Oh, want to share knowledge?
Beep.
Oh my god, I'm gonna share knowledge. I'll share knowledge with you too.
Okay, so here's my secret. Okay, hold
Okay.
on. Stop sniffing me, you weirdo. I think it is in here.
Okay.
Trying to put a marker down on it.
And the one I found is here.
Okay. That one's easy. That's right in
Yep.
front of the
Right
Anubis,
in
right?
front of the mount. Yeah, it's literally in front of the Anubis statue. At the Mount Obsidian Anubis.
There's a person standing there who will give you a quest about getting a Yakimo with the easygoing trait.
Oh,
So that's
cool.
how you'll know it's the right spot. And there will be a statue there. But the person I think is wearing a big purple backpack.
Good to know. Good to know.
So if I didn't give you the right area, then look for somebody with a big purple backpack around that area.
Travel around Sakurajima without a flying mount. Am I gonna die or am I gonna live? I think I got this.
Not a very good one.
Restless wanderer with a giant backpack.
Find it.
Yeah, here it is. Thank you, honey.
Welcome, babe.
Musical adventure. Really get cool.
Thinking of something whenever I was getting back here, but I don't remember what it was. I'm just like back here now. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember now. I'm dumb.
It's okay, honey.
I'm so excited about all my Japanese stuff.
Need to get that. That's another church, okay. Is there a church up in... No.
Show you guys what the house is supposed to look like. It's gonna be nice. I'm so excited to show you guys. Okay, let's start down here.
I'll go back to my base, and then... Oh, that's the wrong base.
Oh, you've got to be fucking. Ugh.
Oh? Everything okay, honey?
Great, groovy.
I feel like she's gonna murder me.
Not you.
I feel like she's gonna murder a Relaxosaurus.
Maybe.
The Relaxosaurus will be missed.
You have the logging camp too?
I do, yes.
Cool. I'm gonna go rob you.
There is 463
Thank you.
hardwood in my chest.
Thank you, darling. That's why.
You need hardwood, huh?
Uh-huh.
Here's the chest in the far corner next to my smelter.
All the good stuff's in this chest.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Why is it so heavy?
It's taking all of it. Oh my.
Oh, fine, I'll put half of it back. Mostly
I
because
mean, you can use a teleport from where you're standing.
Oh, yeah. All right.
This rapping sounds like they've artificially increased the speed. Oh my god, they destroyed the roof? Huh? My roof. My foundation. They're not placed on the ground, it's on the ground below it.
I don't know how I feel about this song.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. But I'm building and I can't be fucked to change it right now.
Oh my god, so many foundations got destroyed.
Through with this now.
I'm glad that song's over.
Mm-hmm.
It just
It wasn't good.
it sounded like cheap rap, where they've just like increased the speed in post production
It was
of
not
everything.
my favorite. I'm sexy and I know it.
Tristan, and I know it.
I'm sexy and I know it.
What do I need to build? Oh, I could actually get an electric kitchen pretty easily.
Yeah.
I just need to build a guild chest. What do I need to research for that? Obviously, guild chest.
So I'm gonna need more wood.
Okay.
Yeah. Why
Um.
am I so heavy? Could it be this 25-pound egg that I'm holding plus my 2 sets of 35-pound metal armor? Good Tifa, let me hold you. Wow, just earthquake resistant. Such a disappointment at this point.
I mean, you can't be pointed every day. Sometimes you have to be disappointed.
It's identical to this one. I'm gonna have them make some more cake.
Snoop Dogg, I can't say that word.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking. I was like, damn. Okay, I need to go. Where's my flyer? Need to go see if my flyer is finished. So I can go get more hardwood. There you go. How you doing? Look, now what I've got, a really awesome axe. Probably get a lot faster now. Holy shit. At least nothing's like really attacking me here. And the shit respawns pretty quickly. What do I have now? 218 more wood. Just gonna. Hmm. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How you doing, Al?
Everyone.
How you doing, Al? How you doing there? Dark Zero, how you doing? I'm just taking a stroll.
Are you in my base?
No.
Are you taking the stroll to somewhere with hardwood?
Yeah.
How much do you need? What are you even making?
My base pretty.
Mm. Oh, you're making the Japanese.
Yeah. Important. Am I a little annoyed that I have to use hardwood now instead of regular wood? Yes. Do I understand? Yes. Because it was really fucking cheap before.
It was very cheap before.
Hardwood wasn't in the game before, so it made sense.
Yeah.
I thought I ate all my granola bars. I have 3 more. I'm so happy.
More granola.
Look, don't judge me, man. These granola bars are fucking awesome.
I told you this before. The only thing I judge you as is a cutie.
Oh my god, stop. Damn it. So expensive. Just curious. Going back, doing it again. I really should just buy or build the logging camp too, but I don't have the points.
Let's see how much this lights up. Oh, add to this.
No, over here. Let me see if if there might be some trees near this other shrine. It's like right here, yeah, foot of the volcano shrine. There might be some trees at the foot of the volcano, maybe. If not, I might have to just like wait until I get maybe like grind out some daisies for the cloud and make the home thingy so I can just
The home cloud thingy.
Mhm.
Oh, is it consumable or is it like a permanent item?
Consumable. So I
I
said
have
grind out daisies.
okay. I have 3 that I got from something.
Them. They're very useful.
Yeah, I haven't really used them because I haven't been in a situation where I need them too much.
Fine.
But it's good to know that.
It does look like there's lots of trees out here too. Hopefully they're all hardwood and close enough to that shrine. Oh, sweet. At the very least, those few trees might be hardwood. Yay. I love this. I just spilled granola over the floor.
My love, it's okay.
Yeah, later. How we get ants?
Um,
Well, it's winter. We're not gonna get ants.
yeah, unlikely to get ants right now. I need a vacuum to clean that up properly, huh?
Probably.
Send an expedition and then go grab that to clean it up. Once the expedition, once I get back and once it's cleaned and everything, do you want to start progressing towards the Tower of the Brothers of the Eternal Fire?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Bitch, stop.
Why are you upset?
Look at this. Look at this. You see, I'm just trying to go up so I can click on that fucking door.
Why is this Mamarist upset and not willing to do any tasks? What's going on with you, buddy? Yeah, I'll be able to get the guild chest and electric kitchen easy.
Oh, okay.
Why are they upset? Because they don't have any. Do pals get upset if there's not enough light? Do pals get upset if there's not light?
Light.
Yeah.
No?
They just get upset and want to slack off after a while sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes they're just working really hard.
What is my work preference set to? I'll put it back to relaxed. Because on normal for a while.
It's crazy.
Love me, know me, say that you love me. Yeah, needs to come back to going again in my base. Watch. There's my money. Oh, money. There's my money.
So I know I'm like super lurgy friendly, and it's great. No, don't mind if people are sitting in the chat and just like, or sitting watching the video and not really chatting. Don't care about that. I think it's super fun. I just wanted to mention that I think it's super funny that I was looking at my analytics earlier, and there are times when like there's a long period of time where people aren't talking, and it'll pick up so like the only message will be Pokemon community game, and I'm just like spike up like every hour or every like 10 minutes. It just spikes up and then goes down, spikes up and then goes down, and then spikes up and then goes down. And I was like, what the fuck is that? I was like, oh wait, it's PCG.
Yeah, that was funny. Oh fuck, is my huh.
What?
Well, rip, I guess my alpha drone got pulled into the
What?
It got pulled into the expedition that started before.
Oh no.
Even though it wasn't, he wasn't in time to start it. Oh, I will be back.
Okie dokie.
Halfway, and then gonna get back in. Whereabouts is the granola still? Oh, that's not much.
No,
Still being easy.
he's gonna vacuum it up. I made a mess. Come on. I'm literally 2 walls away. Nice. Oh my god, guys. Tell me how awesome this looks. You can't even. No, come back. Where'd you go? That looks so awesome. Hmm. What the fuck? Why are these doing that? Oh, it's just because it's the texture thing. Okay. Mm. Oh, that's a big egg. Is that a huge egg? I don't think so. Large egg? That's a large egg. That is a huge egg. Alpha. Okay, we're gonna wait. I need to do this. Please, I need this one to be good. This is the house I'm gonna have built over in the cherry blossom area. I'm so fucking excited. Oh wow. Oh my god, a mechanical bow. Ew. Interesting. That's bougie. This to hurry up and be finished so I can put this fire egg in there. I'm tired, and I hate to admit it. I really do. I'm getting tired. I want to take a nap. By nap, I mean I want to just go to sleep. But I know Tristan wants to do the boss thing, so we can work towards that. It's just like I want to play, like so bad. But ever since we left dinner, I've been kind of nodding off, which is why I went to the store and got some energy drinks. I'm so mad about it. Ooh, that's nice. Okay. I want to do the boss thing, which is electric. What's strong against electric in Palworld? I want to say it's still same thing. Ground type. Yep, figured. Yeah. All right. So what do we got? Could get the pupper out again. This is ice ground. Ooh, that could work. Got immune to knockback too, which is nice. This one, I don't need that one. Really want that. Trying to figure out what's got a ground ability. Might also be like resistant to fire just in case it comes up. This would be fucking perfect. Why not? Went on party and increased attack of ground pals by 15%. Sounds fucking perfect, actually. Get these bitches leveled up. God. Damn it, stop it. Earth impact, okay. Do stone cannon. That's fun. What about you? Alright. You know it won't be on me. He's such a weird team. I'm like, hey, look at that. And he's gonna be like, whoa, where the fuck did you get that? I'm like, don't worry about it. And then we'll be like, boom. And he's gonna be like, what the fuck? I'm like, look, don't talk to me. And my doomud. I really am. Like, the fucking energy drink is going through me. Alright, I want to also boost myself up a little bit. So come over here while this is happening. And we'll get some wool. We have this. Electric damage reduction. That sounds fucking fabulous right now, doesn't it? Get these palladium fragments made up. Water pal here. Oh, it's him. That's why there's never as much iron as there everything else. Also probably because he's lazy. Oh, this guy. That's right. Suddenly I see. Damn it. It's all over there right now. That's where I left the dog coins. I was looking for dog coins. I should really vocalize what it is that I'm doing, huh? Sometimes I just get so fucking or not confused, caught up. Oops, there we go. Church. There's a church. Surely there's a strange man there who wants to sell me accessory slots. Oh, I could buy both of them. Fun. Interesting. This is good. This is good. Oh yeah. Okay, so we're gonna start saving that. I thought I was gonna need to save up a lot longer for the accessory slots. I do not. I'm done with the accessory slots. That's exciting. Okay, is this done yet? 3 minutes. Alexa, stop. That's for my alarm to take my meds. A sphere module. So I just want to make some regular spheres.
Take your nighttime meds.
You take your nighttime meds. Fuck you. Take my meds. The biggest downside about taking my meds right now is I'm gonna have to drink something and I have to pee. Nope, I'm not gonna do it. I'll wait till Tristan gets out of the bathroom. That will be problematic. That's all that's gonna charge me for it? Oh. Well, I didn't do that. Tristan did. I need 50 of those for the spare module. I also need 70 of these to make an upgraded thing, which is what I was doing. I forgot that I just fucking used a bunch of, I used 30 just to make spears. Not spears, I'm gonna make the upgraded shield. 540 to what? What would it be bringing me to? Oh, that's a nice little upgrade. Go back to the space over here and see what we have. I'm still trying to. I want to go after I make my shield though. Ooh, what have we got here? Oh my god. Logging foreman, sadist. Okay, this is good. This is whatever. Yeah. This is a male. I already have a good male. I like his better. Disappointing because it was an alpha too. Doesn't matter if it's an alpha. Stop trying to set me on fire, damn it. So sweet. Pretty. Poor unfortunate souls. Oh my god, what the fuck have you been doing? Nothing? Watering my ass? Okay, that sounded really bad. The sniper module for the balls. So this fucker right here. But I want this first. So I'll probably wind up skipping the other one because 9. I could do both. I could do both. God. So, okay. Wait. There we go. Oh, Jeanette. Oh. Well, textures of things get like all fucked up behind Daydream's hair. Okay, I have to pee, and I think he's out of the bathroom. I'll be back. What?
Hello?
I didn't hear what you said.
I might leave the vacuum up here.
Okay.
In the room by the bin.
It's my fault.
It's my fault.
It's Tristan's fault.
Sorry about blaming you.
How dare you? So I have been getting everything together. I'm still trying to work on making a few things. So I want to make this hyper shield first, and I want to make this. Ah, oh, I thought I'm gonna kill my controller. Sniper module. Actually, I can make the sniper module now. But I also used the dog coins that I had and unlocked both of my accessory slots.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
Loud volume warning.
There's loud volume warning, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic so that you guys don't at least have to hear it as close. So you'll still be able to hear some vacuuming noise, and that's okay. But for now, I don't know. All good. Has been vacuumed up. Thanks, babe. I do have a request, though. I have enough energy to go and do all the boss stuff and defeat up to the next boss. But then afterwards, can we go to sleep? Okay. But then we don't. But then I'm gonna play again tomorrow. I think dinner threw me off because it brought me to a lull point, you know?
Yeah, and it's hard to recover.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a little granola spot. How close am I?
It's a bit of low energy from the
Dinner, yeah, because we just basically were sitting there and not doing anything. That's why I pulled out my phone and started doing that. I was like, I need to keep my mind and hands moving.
yeah, same.
But at the same time, I didn't want to be rude. and like not talk to people. Whoa. These guys are busy. I wound up hatching a huge egg while you were gone.
Oh, what'd you get?
Well, an alpha bushy knocked,
Oh,
but it was terrible. Well, it wasn't the worst one I've had, but it
so
was
it
bad.
could have been more.
It could have been worse, but it was still wasn't great. It's like it had hold on. It had sadist on it, which reduced the amount of defense it had, and it
Ah,
had logging foreman, which is like okay. I want this hyper shield because the one I have right now is a giga shield, which gives me 540. The hyper shield gives me 1045. And do you know what else I made?
what's that?
This ring called the Ring of Electric Resistance.
Ooh, so that's gonna be good.
Uh-huh. I can tell you the materials if you want to get the materials and come over here and make it yourself.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Okay. It needs. The only reason I say is because I'm like, if it weren't for anything but the palladium fragments. If you want to bring your own palladium fragments, this is 30, and then you can just bring it over here.
I can do that.
Yeah, because everything else is fine. It's just those, because I'm struggling with those right now, and I'm trying to get up to 100, so I can just make this fucking shield.
I can give you some extra ones as well. I'll give you half of what I have.
Okay.
So I currently have a massive stockpile of stone being.
Yeah, stone's not the issue. Like right now, I have like 605 being processed at the moment. It was
Ah,
over 605. It was like 700 and something, I think, but so close.
ring of
Need
electric
10
resistance.
more. Yep. And did you see what level it was too?
Blue?
Electric damage reduction level 3.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Enjoy the 70 or so.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, honey. Did I miss anything while I was gone?
No.
Oh,
Let's
but
see.
I did.
The Hakamo escaped, the Squawkabilly escaped, the Onyx escaped, the Carkle escaped, and the Joltik escaped.
But I did miss something. I missed you.
Oh, actually, go to my house.
Give me a second. Yeah, this is best over here. I'm about to level up the base.
Oh, nice.
And then I'll come back to your base.
Okay. When I say the workshop, I mean the workshop. When I say my base, I mean the breeding base, just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Figured that the case. Oh, the next one's gonna be pretty easy to do.
I already got one of those.
Yeah, same. With production too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, come down here.
Yeah. He come over here. He come over
Turn
here.
around.
Oh, it's so Japanese. You're done.
Mm-hmm.
No, oh, this looks lovely.
It is so nice.
Oh, I knew this would look amazing once you got up to
So happy.
it.
Oh, look, a bushel. And it's got a masochist on it.
Ooh,
Interesting. What is masochist?
less, less. It does less damage, but it's got a higher defense.
I don't want it to do less damage. Where did it go? There it is. Increase player work speed, 10% player defense. No, I want it to do more damage. Oh my god. Can it not have both?
Making a masochist and a sadist.
Well, I could, but then they cancel each other out.
Is this? Eesh, I don't want that.
Okay, are you ready?
Oh, whoops! I don't want that. I want that guy on my team. I am.
My next part of the quest is to talk to the villagers, I think. Let me see. Yeah, listen to what the villager has to say. I don't know if you did that already.
Give me just 1 second. No, I haven't done that yet.
Hello?
Not bad.
Hey, you a pal tamer? What's that? Brothers of Eternal Pyre? Oh, sure. Had a run in with one of them just the other day. There I was, just hauling some kindling. He comes up saying, "You look like a dude who gets it. Come on, let's pump it up." I was too freaked out to do anything but turn the guy down, and he looked pretty bummed about it. They never used to get up in your face like that before. You know, that reminds me. If you want to hear more about the good old days, you ought to talk to the porter. Listen to
Oh,
what the
cool.
porter in the volcanic area has to say.
Have. Okay, so I can just skip through this dialogue, which is nice. Listen to what the porter has to
I
say.
have not done a lot of exploring in the volcano area.
Oh, you can buy hardwood from this guy, this red guy. If you need a big supply. Oh, high quality pale oil and flame organs and hardwood are the good things you can buy from him.
I'm good for now. Where's no. Hello, Porterman. Ah, you want to know more about the Brothers of Eternal Pyre? They used to be fairly chill for a group that worships fire. They kept their mountain. They kept to their mountain and spent their days training. When they lost their leader, it seemed like they would completely fizzle out. That's when their new head honcho showed up, some guy called Axel. Apparently, the brothers found him passed out somewhere, but he was a pretty passionate guy for someone who was found down and out. That really resonated with the group, I guess. Ever since then, the brothers have been, well, a little too hot to handle. That's about all I can tell you about them, though. If you're planning on digging deeper, try not to burn yourself by getting too close. Okay.
Okay, good to know. Report to the client. Oh, it's wanting us to go back.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But I'm gonna go.
Have you got
Yeah,
the waypoint up
I
here?
did not.
Okay. This is also the one where
Yeah,
the
by the relax source.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that too. I'm actually gonna go from here to the house, put the XP, and then go back to the client.
Mm-hmm. That is genuinely one that is like as soon as you get it,
Yep.
put it in.
I could use some XP.
There's probably another one somewhere that's like dropping grease.
Thank you so much for the follow, Blitzer. Welcome in. How are you doing? Hope you're enjoying your time. I assume so. You followed me. If not, I mean, you're kind of a bit of a masochist for following me if you didn't like it.
I follow you because I hate you. Fuck you. I swear that's a bunch of you know, queso.
Please. Hope you're having a wonderful morning as well. Having a wonderful day and stream today. Good. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We're gonna play up until we defeat this next boss, and then we're gonna go to sleep. Only because it is currently just past midnight, and
Oh, my alarm went off, didn't it?
oh, it did. Yeah. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was putting the point in. The effigy.
Okay, if we hadn't
Yeah, we went out to dinner tonight and it kind of ruined our schedule. Basically, when we're playing, we get good flow in, and that's really fine. But when we need to, when we stop so that we have to go out to dinner or something, then then it kind of interrupts that flow, and that's kind of what happened tonight. So basically, we're gonna go to bed, get some rest, wake up, and then because we have nothing to do tomorrow, we're gonna do it all day again tomorrow. And I am having a freaking blast.
yeah, we are literally gonna play this game until we lose our hyperfixation, which could be
No idea.
question mark amount of time.
Sometimes, like we never know. Where are we going? In? Talking to the client.
Yeah, it's down by me. It's basically we will be getting into endgame at the very least before our hyperfixation
Mm-hmm.
disappears.
Hey, you're back. What'd you manage to figure out? Okay, I get it now. So this Axel guy came along and rekindled their dying embers. Yeesh, what a pain. I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad guy. It's just he's taking things way too far. Sorry, but would you mind getting him to cool off? Getting his butt kicked would probably put a damper on things at least. And don't worry, you'll be rewarded for the trouble. All right.
This one was much better.
Yeah, it wasn't as much back and forth.
Yeah, it was literally
You know, now I have to.
you go up the hill and then come back.
Yeah, well,
What's the furthest up?
scorched.
Oh, interestingly enough, I don't have that one.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's the watchtower.
I have this one right next to the bus tower.
Well, I would say sucks to suck, but you gotta come over here anyways. Nat! I'm blaming you, Nat. I want you to know, literally, I can blame you because it was because of your son. No, it was because of you that you gave birth to your son this day years ago. I say years because I don't know how many years. 15, maybe?
At least one.
At least 12 years ago. Between 12 and 15 years ago. 14 years ago, yeah.
I think
So
it
we
was
had to go out
14.
to
Damn.
dinner and it ruined our flow, and now I'm tired. So after this boss fight, I'm going to bed.
And also, you chose, you know, a tasteless food.
Yeah. You chose a
Oh, that's a
chicken.
problem.
You chose oh yeah, yeah. I told you I was gonna I on the way home I said I can blame Nat for my food because I'm not tasting good because she's the one that picked it.
I genuinely think it was a chef error
Mm,
rather than
yeah.
it looked like it should have had a good
It
amount of
looked like
flavor.
it sort of tasted good, but we think that what happened was we think the spinach got it wet and it washed all the flavor away.
Hmm.
It was so disappointing. Hey,
That
headbats, I love it. Thank you.
I'm a go head pat.
I'm glad that the headpads actually work now. Before it was just an arigato sound without the actual headpads happening. But I fixed it. I fixed it
Nice.
by,
Drugs.
well,
No
no, it
using
was
them.
like, what was it? God, I hate this fucking mountain. There's gotta be an easier way. There's probably a path somewhere, and I am taking the most complicated route. No, I don't want actual headpads. My hair. I gave Hazel head pats and she turned and gave me head pats at the same time. So we were just head patting each other at the table. And then later I booped her belly and she booped my nose. I fucking adore Hazel. She's adorable.
Hazel is great. Fortunately, she's had the girl experience with school of girls are bitches to each other.
Oh yeah, that happens. I had this one girl who I thought was my best friend tell me that the only reason she talked to me was because she felt sorry for me. That was nice. So I get it. Broke my heart. I loved her. Platonically, but I thought she was really cool, which I guess she was. She was putting up with a nerd like me. I'd tell you her name, but it's incredibly unique.
And I see made it up. Okay, cool. I'll
Yeah.
just get the travel points that were down because they're it's much easier to
Yeah.
go down the volcano.
Okay. Well,
Hello.
okay. So this is going to be the last boss fight we do for tonight.
What level is this? 30? Oh, it's gonna be tough still though, I imagine.
I don't know. Like last time I did this, I was under leveled. And actually, I thought I did the one in this little icy area first.
Yeah, they might have changed the path because the icy area seems
No, it wasn't the hard icy area. It was the like soft icy area. But this is still pretty cold. Oh, why is my tits isn't working? It's oh my God. Okay, so
Ooh,
apparently
the tits isn't
no, it
working.
did. It did work. I just didn't hear it.
Oh, Celeste.
So I got hit by it, but it was very silent. Okay. All right. Let's go.
I'm excited.
Yes, me too. Hopefully I actually win this time. But yeah, after this boss battle, we're gonna go to sleep and then we'll be back tomorrow.
I imagine I
Oh
won't
my
be
God,
as
this guy, oh, is he electric still? Yeah, he is.
Ooh,
Well, I heard that. Look at this.
that's not
He
music.
should be fighting with Orset, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
Yeah.
whoa.
Axel and Orset. I brought some friends. Want to see?
Mm.
I made a new friend today. Want to see?
Oh my. Oh, I have the goddamn problem whenever I enter a new area. Been happening a bit. I have this friend. Laser beam. Oh, oh, I see.
What?
Die. Oh yeah, this is gonna be much easier than the last one.
Oh yeah, because we're like 10 levels over this now, almost. What the fuck? Oh shit, I'm on the outside of that.
Oh, there's a way in.
That's okay. I don't need to go in. I can shoot from the outside.
Oh yeah, I got a musket.
He's doing a good job. Go, Mamarest.
Do you have anyone that would be good? No. Dragon Meteor.
He also keeps freezing him, which is nice. He says his attack is highly effective against Axel and Orsic. Well, I
No,
hope
it's
so.
if you called that pal and it was really good against him. And he
Yeah,
keeps
I was like,
freezing.
he's a ground type. I was like, the only downside is that he's also an ice type, and I was like, I'm just gonna go.
It seems to be just like regular.
Yeah,
Okay, much
sweet.
easier.
Oh, I'm level 50.
Nice. I am very overleveled against this guy.
Oh yeah.
Key Sphere of Sloth. Sin of abandoning one's humanity, descending on the something.
Step. My fucking controller, I hate it. We won.
I'm glad that wasn't a long fight. I don't think I had the brain energy for a long, drawn out fight.
Computer. Component using the control of automated equipment and precision machinery. I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna unlock it. Plasteel, crude oil extractor. Ooh. Hold on, I can get that flag too, yeah? Oh, I can get this. Oh my god, hold on. What do I want? I don't want the guild chest. What do I want? Coal? No. Logging site? No. Large power generator. Thank you for the hit piece. What did I want over here? What was I wanting? I don't remember.
There is a effigy across the Caldera.
Tristan.
Yeah?
Check out level 27.
27? Oh, yes, 27. We got the weapon slot now, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have the second weapon slot? Must defeat Moonflower Tower for the second weapon slot.
Okay. That's exciting.
I'm happy.
Alright, how do I get the fuck out of here? Wee. Pew. Pew. I like spinning around on the glider. It's really fun. Alright, we're gonna go back. I am going to come here first.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That was really easy.
Mm-hmm. I would like to see who, like a damage screen. I wonder if they'll be in the raids to see like what pals do the most damage.
Oh yeah, true. I don't know.
Um, I feel like you did most of that.
I don't know.
The only thing I had that was relatively effective was my laser beam.
I was using the mammoth. The mammoth was doing all the work. I was shooting it from the sidelines.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, mammoth. Mammoth was very strong.
Well, if it wasn't for that, if the mammoth didn't do a good job, I also had a Duma.
Oh, you were very prepared.
I was like ground type. I need ground types.
I was my only pal that I put in souls to make really strong.
All right. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how do I make this slot thingy.
Hexalite? Chromite? Metal detector? Okay.
Wooden board and leather.
Ooh.
Yep, one wooden board. That's all I wanted. Thanks. Stupid.
Ooh.
All right. I need 18 more. What else? Leather. So I'm gonna go buy some of that because I ain't grinding for that shit. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I will decide to grind out a bunch of leather Just go out and kill a bunch of things. I'll probably do that when I can like excessively kill things.
Yes, yeah, I need to
Until then, I'm just gonna just buy it because
do something similar. Yeah.
oh, you can buy hardwood from the guy in the small town now too.
Oh, cool. I wonder if as you go through areas, you get better
I don't know.
ingots. Let me get a bunch
Can
of
I buy
ingots.
anything else? About the Pal merchant, what's he selling? What you got over here, bud? Shit, absolute garbage. I don't want your trash.
Ooh, the guild chest has more spaces than our inventory
Yes, it does. The thing is it only works,
with other guild bases.
yeah, if you have it, yeah. I don't know if you can auto sort into it.
You can. It has
Well,
it. I don't know if the
the reason I said that is because when I did the testing of it on the other world, on my private world, it wouldn't take it. It said it could, but it wouldn't take it.
you can manually auto sort if that makes sense. You can run up to it and press C and it'll fill in whatever
No,
duplicate
I
you
just
want.
meant the bulk storage thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Yay, I put my fishing pole in there now. So stupid. Look, I'm happy.
I might actually make a fishing pole now.
It works. Be breeding these goddamn fucking bushies forever. But not today. That'll be tomorrow. We can raid out though, because we have enough viewers now, which is good. We like that.
Nice. Ooh, I picked up towards the end. I've only just got myself, which is fine.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. We do want to raid some more people playing Palworld though. We
Okay,
want to make
thank you everyone for
we
joining
want to
me.
make more
I'm gonna
Palworld
end the
friends.
screen here. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
raid out with Aiko. I love you all.
So TV, let's go there.
Mostly just for the VOD, I'll still
Mm-hmm.
be around. But yeah, bye bye. Okay,
Palworld. Who
my
else is
queen ended.
playing Palworld?
I'm
Anybody I know? Okay, you're playing Palworld. Let's meet a new friend playing Palworld.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it's good to meet a new friend.
Let's do it in English specifically, just because that's the audience right now. Hmm. That's a very large audience. Let's keep to nearish hours. Let's go with this person over here, who is another VTuber in Australia.
Ooh, that sounds wonderful.
Okay. All right, we are going to raid out to. So hold on. Here is our raid message. If you would like to raid, sub raid, and then we are going to raid out to. Oops, I can type. We're going to raid out to Eddie Bones. So if you'd like to join us, I will figure out how to fucking copy things.